3, 2, 1. Good afternoon. This is KPFT Houston, KPFT HD. The name of the show is Black on Both Sides. And today we're honored to have two guests from the, and if I say anything wrong, mischaracterized or misstated, please say so. From the Hare Krishna Temple over on 34th. I got a chance to, first of all, I was introduced to the foods of the temple years ago, because they actually used to bring food during the pledge drive, as the gentlemen that are here right now are here doing pledge drive. And let me just briefly say, once you hear this show, please go to the website, go to our tip jar, please make a donation for Black on Both Sides. As I've said before, Bernie Sanders ran a campaign of $20 to $50 contributions and raised tens of millions of dollars. If you simply contribute, we're not asking you to donate lots of money, we're just asking you to contribute. We can make our goals, so please contribute. But the point I was making was that the Krishna temple, when it was much smaller, when that actual big temple wasn't there, they used to bring food for doing the pledge drive. You might go in the lobby and see pizzas. But we used to get Krishna food here. That's how I was introduced.
I smelled the pizza on the way in.
Yeah. So
I did.
Actually, remnants of pizza. But in any case, we have two gentlemen here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're from the temple, and they're also from they have a movement that is a part of the temple, or maybe it's a branch off from the temple. So if you both introduce yourselves, and the handsome one goes first.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. No. I'm gonna let y'all decide that.
Or that's
you got it.
I'm Anish, with Hare Krishna Temple, and also with Conscious Houston.
Yeah, my name's Gora, and I'm also with both of those entities.
Which are both one.
Yeah, more or less.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you're both with Krishna consciousnness.
Yeah.
And which is an extension of, I would say, the religion of Krishna. I've had a chance to travel to India 4 times, actually. And the second time I went, I believe it was, we went to Kolkata, and I was offered a tour to the major temple. I believe it's about 2 or 3 hours from Kolkata. But then at the last minute, I was told that that's too far, really, to make it like a day's trip. But in any case, you both Krishnas. I've seen in India where the Krishna, I'll call it a movement, is very strong. You rarely see Krishna devotees here in the U.S. Dressed as they are. So basically, tell us what the Krishna movement is. Either one of you, just jump in. What is the Krishna movement? And go right ahead.
Yeah. So the Krishna movement was actually, it's a very ancient practice. And it was brought here to the West by a person known as Srila Prabhupada in the 1960s, 1965. He came here at the age of 69 years old. Came with practically nothing, just a few dollars in his pocket. Somehow managed to get on a steamship and make it over here to the U.S. With one goal in mind, which was to share God consciousness or Krishna consciousness with people. He felt a burning desire to share it. He felt like this wasn't something that should be just something of the Eastern world, but something that should be shared with people of the whole world. So he started in a very humble way, in a very humble beginning, where he lived in New York City, and you could only imagine going to New York City in the 60s with absolutely nothing, nowhere to live, and he had no friends or nobody he really knew, and it's a very beautiful story, actually, his life. But one thing that I always picture when I think of that time is he would sit under a tree in Tompkins Square Park in New York, and he would sing the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, like that. And at the time, he didn't have any instruments or any sort of accompaniment with him. It was just himself, and all he had was this bongo drum. So he would play that, and then over time he attracted probably hundreds of people, and people just became really attracted to him and attracted to what he had to offer. And then from those moments in New York City grew a worldwide revolution, a worldwide movement of people connected to Krishna.
Did he ever go back to India to practice, or it was just primarily totally here?
Yeah, he went back to India and built actually that temple near Calcutta.
Okay.
There's
Which
like
is
also
the city? What's the name of the city?
it's called Mayapur. Like it's basically like a big, huge. Now it's a huge compound. There's like a huge temple in Vrindavan, which is another city in India. So yeah, he went back to like I guess big significant holy places in India and built huge temples and brought the same philosophy back to India with like a Western energy.
Okay. Now, what is excuse me, Hari? Okay, because actually I've met, I think I told you, one of the gentlemen there, and at night I found one of the websites, and they have just simply music, just tracks of music, and I'll play it, and I'm hearing Hari Hari, Krishna Krishna, and it seemed like that's the only thing that's saying. What is that in English? What does it mean? I know Krishna with Krishna, but what is Hari Hari? And what does the song or the mantra mean in English? Please.
No, he does this every time we sing. He's the one who explains it. So he's like the authority.
Well, I mean, I'm not the authority, but it very simply stated, it's a prayer for service.
Okay.
So it's a prayer for service to God.
Okay.
And Hari, Krishna, and Rama are the three words within the mantra. And so Hari refers to the energy of the Lord. Krishna refers to one who is all attractive. And Rama is the source of all pleasure, the source of all strength. So combined, you're chanting these names of God, and it's in a language known as Sanskrit.
Okay.
And together, the mantra, the 16-syllable mantra, is a prayer for service, which says, "O Lord, O God, O Krishna, please engage me in your service."
And the mantra itself is totally encapsulated in those 3 or 4 words.
Yeah. So Sanskrit's pretty amazing that way. Like, there's essays written on just the syllable Om, which is just one syllable, but it has so much meaning. So Sanskrit is kind of considered, it's to be said, like, to be like the mother of all languages in a sense. It's like there's so much meaning even in just one syllable. So yeah, it is pretty amazing that that meaning could be derived from just 3 words.
Okay, and Gora?
Gora. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is, I'm sure both of you guys grew up in your family, that's how typically it works. Everyone becomes what the parents were. I was Christian, but I was also, over the last 10 or 15 years, exposed to Jainism. Jainism, that's one of my avenues to go to India. The 3rd time, I think, was through the Jain Temple. And stayed in the Jain home the whole bit.
Cool.
But so I understand, you might say rudimentarily. I'm not going to say I'm not an expert, of course, but I understand generally. But what is the essence? What is the essence of the religion to you?
To me, like you hit it on the nail on the head of me growing up in it. So it was always kind of something that I was around, and I never really took the time to understand. So as I got older and I started seeing, you go out in the world, you get a job, you go to school, you do this and that, I noticed that there's a lot of like unhappiness that you can potentially stumble into. So what I found is that by by going back to my roots and like kind of exploring this religion, which says, hey, this world that we're living in is full of suffering, but if you focus your mind and try to think past that and try to focus on something higher, you can find happiness. So to me, like this whole philosophy is just like it's a way of life, and it's a way of becoming happy. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what everybody wants, right? Nobody wants to be sad. And so yeah, that's how I see it. It's just like a way. It's like a guideline to become, a happier person, a better person.
In the Jainism, I understand a lot of the levels of moving up, you know, karma and the whole shebang. And moksha, of course, in the Jains is the ultimate, you know,
Like the
what we're looking
highest,
to. Right,
yeah.
right. So is there reincarnation in the Krishna movement, or is moksha and a quest, a spiritual quest that you guys are on, or is it simply having a happy life?
No, there's reincarnation. Like the whole goal is to get back to God. It's like this place called Goloka Vrindavan. I guess you could compare it to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our whole goal in life. Is like, you know, of course you might end up leading many lives to burn off whatever karma you built up or
Right.
things like that. But the goal is to get back to just being with God, being able to kind of hang out with God in a sense. You know,
Right.
like that's where you want to be, right? You know,
Right.
so that's our goal.
Okay. So, but you don't use the term moksha. But I mean,
not in the
obviously-
Jain sense.
Is there? Okay.
It's a Sanskrit word, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's definitely there in the scriptures that we follow,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, moksha essentially means liberation.
Mhm.
So for us, liberation is remembering God and loving God and being conscious of God is liberation, because that essentially is being with God. So
The singing. The last gentleman that came in, he had his drum. He had the whole, you know,
Nice.
he sung. So I'm not gonna ask you guys to sing, but yeah.
I wish we had our drums.
yeah.
Yeah, and, but how central is, or the mantras, or the mantra in because the one that I listen to, there's one that I like a lot. I don't know. I think this guy's, I think the temple's in New York. I think this temple's in New York. It's 43 minutes, but it has it's really, to me, it starts out really slow, and about 30 minutes later it's kind of picking that. So how central is the music and the mantra to to the prayer, to what you should be doing? How central is it?
I think it's everything. At least for me, like, I guess when I kind of left and came back, it was always the music that brought me back, and our mantra is called the Maha Mantra. It's like the great grand mantra. So yeah, everything comes back to that mantra. I think you probably would have some better things to say.
No, I think the music is everything. That's it's what keeps me coming back. Yeah,
Right.
it keeps me there. I mean, music is such a powerful form of expression. Different types of music make you feel a certain way, make you feel different ways. So, and what to speak of singing about God and singing sacred mantras and names of God and glorifying God. So it's just such a powerful form of expression, especially when it's done with a group of people. And that's what the music that we do, known as Kirtan, is all about.
That's
We chant together.
Right.
Kirtan. We chant together, and it's done in a call and response way. So it's not just one person singing and you just listen. It's everyone singing together.
Right. Yeah, because in the song, the guy keeps saying, he keeps encouraging, or at least
Yeah.
the people,
Yeah.
everybody around him to sing. So, and I'm going to try to stay on that really quick. What if a person wants to see you guys or see prayer? Because we've been there to the restaurant, of course, to Govinda's, which,
Nice.
by the way, is the best vegetarian vegan restaurant. And I'm not just saying that.
Yes,
because
Govinda's
for
is
real,
awesome.
Govinda's, yeah.
Even
Well,
though I eat there all the time, I'm not tired of it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, and there's one place, Loving Hut, might give you a run for your money if you leave Loving
Yeah.
Hut.
Yeah.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
I
They're
was-
pretty popular.
Yeah.
They're super good.
Yeah.
They're super,
They
super
are.
good.
They are.
But in any case, beyond the temple, if a person wanted to come and experience how the prayer takes place, that's like around 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. When are you guys there? When do you play, or what?
Yeah.
What brings your drums out?
What brings your drums out?
I mean, we're there. Like, I guess the best time to come experience it would be like 7 o'clock on a Sunday.
Okay.
There's a lot of different people that sing there. Like, I guess Anish here, I would say personally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one of the better singers that we have around in Houston. So he sings like maybe once or twice,
Well,
once every month or so.
You just got me out there. Then.
Yeah,
The 7 o'clock on Sunday is tough for me because we have another show. But I mean, I love to see you guys.
Yeah.
I love other people that are watching. Maybe hopefully on Facebook.
Yeah.
Will come out. So you're typically a featured
I
singer.
wouldn't say featured. I mean, like Gore said, we have several people that sing,
Right.
and but regardless of who sings, it's a community. It's
Right.
the whole community singing together.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that one person that's like leading the tune or setting the mood.
Right.
But everyone's singing together. There's probably usually several drums, several drum players, several people playing cymbals, which are known as kartals,
Okay.
and then a room full of 200, 300 people that are singing along. So.
So don't come simply looking for you. Just
just come.
just for the experience.
Just come.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say you mentioned typically it happens at 8:39. Actually, the services at the temple start at 4:30 in the morning,
Oh.
and they go all day. And there's music actually throughout the day. So there's offerings, which at the temple they call it Artie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Artie. Yeah. So during that time, someone's singing
Okay.
when they're offering different things to the Lord.
Okay.
And so all throughout the day there's really music, but like Gora said, Sunday at 7 is the best time to
That's
come.
the
You
hype
have
one.
yeah,
I think
a room full of people. Yeah.
also Sunday at 9 is like the last RT you call it, and that one's if you're in like a meditative mood, that's always a good one to go to because it's usually like stripped down. It's maybe you'll have like 10 people, and it's a lot more intimate.
Okay.
So that's also a good one.
Okay. 1 second.
Uh-huh.
There we go. I'll cut that out. So, prasad. What is the difference in prasad? Because I understand that prasad is a major component of what the Krishna movement does. And after that, we're going to get into your organization. So,
Okay.
But what is prasad, and
Yeah.
how is that different from Artie?
Go ahead.
Prasad is like the other key element to our whole movement. Basically, what it is during the RT, they offer like food to God, and prasad is like it's like blessed food. So it's the food that's been offered, and yeah. So our whole Christian consciousness movement, it's like it kind of boils down to association, which is like spending time with other people who are involved. Eating prasad, honoring prasadam, which is basically like eating, and the music, which is kirtan. So it's, if anything, it's just a really cool way to live. You
Right.
hang out, you eat, and you do music.
Right.
So
Okay. So I'm always have questions. How do you bring in a person like me? Again, my introduction to the Jain community was through my former job. I used to deliver the mail, and it was a very quiet place. And the Swamiji, I asked her, they did free yoga. That's how they drew people. And so I went in and stuck around for about 7 or 8 years. Well, I'll just ask you.
how do we get people?
How do we bring someone in?
Yeah,
and
how do you
to
bring in the
connect
people?
with them?
Yeah, how do you bring in the people?
That's the question.
Yeah. Well,
And I thought prasad was one of the mechanisms.
It is.
yes, it is.
Okay.
So that's a good segue into Conscious Houston,
Right. Great.
which is a big reason why we started it, which was really started by sort of the next generation at our temple. We thought about how can we bring this out to a broader audience, broader people, because we sort of saw that there are people out there that are looking for vegetarianism, that are looking for music with a deeper meaning, that are looking for how to live a healthier, happier lifestyle, both physically and also mentally and spiritually. So we thought of this idea of starting an organization called Conscious Houston. So the prasad is like conscious food. The music, kirtan, is like conscious music. And then the philosophy and the educational aspect of it is like conscious philosophy. And the conscious part of it is that we're trying to connect all these things with something bigger than just ourselves, but to the community, to God. And so that was really the intention behind starting Conscious Houston, I think, and getting more people connected.
Yeah, I think definitely one thing, us growing up in like I guess in a Hindu temple environment, you take a lot of things, like a lot of parts of the tradition, you don't realize how kind of strange they are to people who've never been around it. And I think that's like Conscious Houston is basically like the brainchild of like Anish and his brother. And so basically it's the whole thing of like, I don't know, maybe your first time at the Jain Temple, you probably saw some stuff that you didn't really understand. I'm assuming.
Of course, including the language.
Yeah.
And eventually they felt comfortable. They used to do the prayers, and don't just cut your start. They used to do their programs in English for me, but then after a while it's just, well, that's just Gordon. You know, so but go right ahead.
Yeah, so that's the whole idea of this Conscious Houston. It's almost like a way to show people, okay, this is what we do, in a way that's easier to understand and a lot less jarring. And then through Conscious Houston, it's very easy to take someone to the temple because they kind of know a little more what's going on. And when they see, like when they see deities on an altar, instead of thinking, oh wow, those are idols, they think, oh, this is Krishna, and this is how their whole philosophy works.
Right. Right.
So that's
Okay. One thing that I experienced when I went to the Jain Temple was I was pretty much the only, not only Black American, just the only American pretty much. I'll say about 6 years. They had the yoga, and you have people filter in, but nobody ever stuck. I was the only, person that stuck. And which I would appreciate it because I wound up getting a trip to India. But diversity is a big thing, and again, when you walk in the door, you mentioned, and I want to make sure I get everything. Go right at your name again.
Anish.
And I should remember that. But you ask, where are you from?
Yeah.
And I was really happy to hear your answer. I'm from here. Because people make assumptions right off the bat. But how do you get the diversity? Not that you necessarily need it, because if you have pretty much a community that's already self-contained, maybe. But how would you draw a person like me, or how do you do? I would say outreach. And I think this is a part of the outreach. But how do you get outside of the walls or the gates of the temple to, or is it, or even because with the Jains, I think that was again not a big priority. Their priority was getting their young people engaged, and I noticed with you guys with the Krishna movement, youth are pretty much engaged. And your age. They were really. Yeah. It was mainly the older folk. Like my age. So how does that work as far as diversity? Or is that an issue? Do you even talk about? Can we get other people in?
Yeah.
That's a part of the black on both sides part of it. Not that you're looking for black, but the culture. Going, like I said again, being able to go in, the culture is so rich that people, if you just see the Krishna person in their regalia, is that an okay word?
Yeah. That's a nice word for
it.
Yeah. But then you think, wow, that's weird. But when you go over there, it's just like normal. So and I think people would benefit, really, from praying a lot like you guys do. So is that ever a consideration? Since you were the founder, is that a consideration?
Yes. Actually, so much of what we do is more about the intention, and it's more about the mood and the consciousness rather than the rituals and the I wouldn't say traditions, but more the rituals, right? For example, we talked about prasad earlier, and there are traditions and very descriptive ways on how prasad should be properly offered to the Lord, and that's just one of many things that are offered to the Lord. But really, prasad is created through intention. So it's created through just thinking about God before one takes a meal, you know, and offering and remembering that this ultimately came from God. And it doesn't doesn't necessarily require a whole set of rituals.
Right.
Same thing with the dress. I think the dress is a very, I would say, traditional Indian sort of culture, and you'll see a lot of the people that come to our temple are of Indian background. But you don't have to dress a certain way or a particular way to approach God or understand God or be Krishna conscious per se.
Right.
And these are the type of things we want to, I feel like sometimes maybe the rituals may cover the actual essence of what we're all about, and the beauty of what it's all about, which is simply loving God, and he doesn't expect you to be certain way or dress in a certain way or I guess all he wants, and what we believe that is that everything should be offered with love, and that's really the core of it. And so Conscious Houston was named with that inspiration of how can we become more conscious of God and Krishna within our hearts, and do everything that we do, but just with love for God and offer to God. Corey, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I just want to throw in one thing. You're talking about like bringing in diversity and how to get out of the temple walls, and I think the biggest thing that Conscious Houston did as an organization is we have a center that's not in the temple. We're actually in the Heights, and we have like a studio there.
Physical address.
106 Aurora Street. It's like right off Yale and 610 basically. So
used to the Aurora movie house is on that street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's actually Three Pews Church. It's called Three Pews. You have to be really pretty close.
Yeah.
We probably are. Yeah.
It's on Aurora Street.
Yeah.
But again, again, what's the physical address?
106 Aurora Street.
And that is your spot.
Well, it's actually a yoga studio that's owned by a person, Turkan, and she's the owner of Samadhi Yoga.
Okay.
And she has a space in the back which we're renting once a week. We're going to be renting once a week to do kirtans and do music. So yeah, it's
our spot.
It's our spot,
Right,
yeah,
right.
essentially.
That's where we run from.
Maybe you guys, I'm sure you're planning events, and I think we're going to talk about, or at least you're going to talk about one event coming up, a mantra mixer.
Yeah.
Which sounds like music.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I mean, that's great. That's great. When is that going to be? Where is it going to be? All the details, whichever.
So that's this Saturday coming up, April 1st, at the property on 106 Aurora. And basically what it is, it's from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. It's kind of just like an afternoon event you can come to. But yeah, the whole thing is music. It's mixing like Sanskrit mantras, like the Maha Mantra, a couple other things,
right,
with modern music. So we have there's this guy Kev Jumba from YouTube.
Okay.
He's gonna be performing a set. He has this like Kanye West cover that we basically covered the song Power with like chanting, and we're doing the whole thing live, and he has a couple of verses, and I do like a hip hop mixed with Indian music as well, so
right.
I'll be doing a set, and then we have a band from Austin coming in. So the whole idea is
Name
just
of the band?
Ramble Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're
Are they South Asian?
no, actually they're
Just straight old American.
pretty
Straight
American.
old white guys.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I could say that, but
right.
but they just do good music, and so our whole idea is just to bring. Music is such a powerful force, like Anisha was saying earlier, and the idea is just to bring music to people and show them, like, that sure, like the kirtan is a kind of a very traditional type of music. It's if you don't have a taste for it, it's kind of hard to get into. So it's to show them that, like, hey, this kirtan music is really powerful,
right?
And even when you mix it with different genres that are easier to understand, it still has that strength,
right?
And that's the whole idea of it. I don't know if you probably want to ask.
I think that was perfect.
Right, right. Well, actually, again, I guess that's what I'm listening to, the kirtan.
Yeah.
And I just listened to one. I mean, I've listened to a lot of them, and first of all, I like them to be long.
Yeah.
So, if I'm laying there and, it's I mean, if a person's mind is open to all kinds of music, excuse me, Jamaican music, whatever, if you're open to music, it's you can be attracted to kirtan, no doubt about it. So you have any events kind of coming up beyond that?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have planned, or what are you incubating with your meetings going forward?
So this is sort of the beginning of the start of what we're going to be starting in April, weekly Conscious Wednesdays.
Okay.
Is what we're going to call it, which are basically weekly kirtans, with a little bit of a talk on bhakti, which is the culture of Krishna consciousness, and also a little bit about what kirtan is incorporated with that, and then we guide people through the chanting, and then we just do music and have snacks, refreshments, and
that wonderful food.
Yeah.
So how long is that? 'Cause I know many times most religious entities, these sermon, I'll just say sermon, typically lasts 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's exactly about how long it'll be as well. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the entire program?
entire program. Yep.
Oh, that's not very long.
Yeah, we're trying to make it more bite-sized for the current generation.
Right. And how are you getting the word out with because obviously you'll get it out to the Krishna community. How do you get the word out? Because that'd be something. Because I've been to the Sunday where you go to the and I'm trying to use the right words. You go to the talk and you get a chance to eat and hope. And it's been years, but I've been to that before. So how do you get the word out about something like that?
Yeah. I think,
other than like today, this is like this, go ahead.
He's been doing a lot of our marketing.
Right.
So we're doing, old-fashioned. We're printing out flyers and passing them out, person-to-person interaction.
Right.
There's social media, of course, and then, I think we're doing an interview on Rice Radio on Saturday right before the event.
Okay.
And just how everybody's marketing everything these days.
Right,
just
exactly.
going out, hitting the street,
Guerrilla.
hitting the internet. Yeah, DIY.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Okay. All right. And I mentioned to you before off the air, and I'm going to mention on air, I think you would do your community a big service by, with this being a community station, and I think what the Krishna movement has to offer is relevant to the wider community, really. So I think you guys should really consider, applying for a show. I know you're a hip hop guy. You're saying basically, but even just on the religion itself. There's enough meat and substance, that you could do it. And by the way, there is one South Asian bunch of young guys that do a show
on Thursdays.
Yeah. You do,
Yeah, it's like the Generation Radio.
Your generation,
yeah.
Those guys, yeah.
So I actually on Saturday we're doing this show at Rice Radio, which is called like Navrang, and so I've been DJing for them like recently, and what it is, it's just like a South Asian show. So they play everything from like old Bollywood music to like current stuff.
Right.
And so since I got in there, I've been playing a lot more just current genre mashing stuff, like kind of like the Generation 80 stuff.
Right.
But I would love to do something more traditional. I think like KPFT, I noticed like growing up around traditional Indian music, especially when you're growing up and you're a teenager, you're like, wow, that's really uncool. But as you get older, I just developed this kind of appreciation for like kirtan, qawwali, even like these old just folk chants,
right?
And I don't think people get a chance to hear them. So I'd love to get involved.
Right. Well,
the
doors are open.
Appreciate
doors
that.
Are open. And again, I can be a conduit to whoever. I can't say I have a lot of juice. But I got a little juice.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need.
Okay, and I'm not sure we covered everything that you want to, but I want to ask about the school. If you guys are familiar with the school, you guys are, and that's one way of building diversity. I've talked to the principal there. I think she must be shy, so I couldn't get her. But I understand that you guys are building a K through 12
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Okay, you got either one of you to talk a little bit about that?
My sister works there, so I guess from what I've learned just through like seeing her is it started off. It's called Goswami Academy.
Right. Okay. Right.
It started off as I mean, it still is. It's very much based in our religion. You know, they do like a Artie every morning. They bless the food, so everything they're eating is prasadam and stuff like that. But there was kind of this unexpected, like great surprise. I can't think of the right word. But yeah, so like people from the community are sending their kids there. So it's
Right.
not just like our Hare Krishna little community. It's also we have like I think 3 or 4 students that are from just like the general like Garden Oaks area.
Right.
You know, which is something I think everybody wanted, but we were
Kind of pleasantly surprised.
yeah pleasantly surprised to actually have that happen. And I think you know as the school is growing, as they're actually building a whole campus right down the street from the temple. So as it grows and becomes more well known, I think there's a potential to really just yeah to teach a lot of children.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it's a school which it's a lot more than just teaching kids like 1 + 1 = 2 and ABCs. It's teaching them principles and like compassion and how to compassion and friendliness and how to be kind to other people. What does it mean to be an honest person? Things like that, you know, things that are not normally taught in a regular school or in a traditional education.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool effort.
Actually, I went there. I took my daughter. We met the principal, and we met. I probably met your sister. I mean, this has been a while back, you know, but I'm pretty sure
Probably.
Govinda. I
Yeah.
met Govinda, and so it looks like it's going to be a really. What I guess what I want to ask is, will it be secular, or I mean, because again, you know, I'm not Krishna, and I've seen the kids with the
The tilak and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know if it will be a secular school or if it's going to be leaning toward the Krishna philosophy, or just simply the principles?
I think it's gonna hit. I'm just kind of freestyling a little bit here, but my idea is like in India they have these schools, they call them gurukuls, and those are the ones that are really really steeped into our religious philosophy. And then in London they have these schools called Krishna Avanti, which are very much secular. So I think the idea, like the Krishna Avanti schools are huge because they got this government funding and stuff, so they have very minimal like Christian conscious influence. So I think what they're shooting for, and hopefully what happens, is that they can kind of hit that middle road of being
Right.
not fully secular, but at the same time not, for lack of a better way to say it, not shoving the religion down, you know, the children's throats.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's what they're shooting for, that line right in the middle, you know, the sweet spot.
Okay. And we're gonna wrap it up really soon. But what are the expressions that are put on the forehead? I'll call them expressions. What are they? Because I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that not only the Krishnas have but also I mean all the religions they do it.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What do they mean? And what if I can explain it? If you can explain it better than I am, the markings on the forehead, or dots, or the whole shebang.
Yeah, simply stated, it's a marking. Everything in the Krishna philosophy is meant to help us become more conscious of God. So the marking is something that's traditionally put on in the morning to help us remember that this body is a temple of the Lord. This body, because the Lord is within our hearts. So this body is supposed to be, is meant to be serving the Lord. My hands are meant to be serving the Lord. My mouth is meant to be singing and speaking about the Lord. My all my senses are to be engaged in the Lord. So the marking is sort of a reminder in the morning to ourselves,
Right.
that the body is a temple of the Lord. That's the way I see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cor?
Okay. Well, I mean, because I see different
Yeah.
I mean, I see. I mean,
different
like,
ways of doing it,
yeah,
or different
but
styles.
ultimately,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Anish had it, like, that's the philosophy behind it, and then
Yeah.
the different markings,
Yeah.
they're basically just, especially if you go in India, you see some guys got like the 3
Right.
stripes, and
right,
it's just ways, like, it's almost like a sign, so someone who wears our style is like a Gaudiya Vaishnava, or, Krishna conscious, and then someone who wears like the 3 marks would be like someone who worships Shiva, and it's like,
okay,
you can kind of tell, like, okay, this guy is with them, this guy's with them. and-
right, okay,
yeah.
okay.
It's like kind of like wearing
It's
a
like a
t-shirt.
clique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Well, it's like, it's, many of us, like, we're not wearing it right now.
Right.
So, like, it is done and worn or marked traditionally. You'll see that a lot in the temples where people are wearing that. But is it a absolute requirement to follow the path of Krishna
Right.
consciousness? No.
Yeah, because even when we went, overseas, they put on all of us
Mhm.
quote unquote foreigners. They did the same. So
Oh, they welcomed you with the dot.
You get the full experience.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's cool.
But again, I want to make sure we covered everything, and I want you to introduce yourselves again. And any contact information on your Facebook page or anything you'd like, or have I missed anything that you'd like to? Because we need to talk about your event. I mean, at least let people know you have an event, and can you talk about that really briefly?
Yeah.
When, where, why?
Yeah. So we have.
No alcohol.
Yep. No. So yeah, we have an event, Mantra Mixer, a fusion of music and mantra music, or contemporary music and mantra music, on April the 1st from 1 to 4 p.m. It features a free yoga. Well, the whole event's free. There's a yoga class that's from 1 to 2 p.m., which is done by Samadhi Yoga, by Turkan at Samadhi Yoga, who's actually been really graceful and gracious in letting us use her space, and giving us a space to propagate and start conscious use. So this event, it's a family-friendly event. There will be snacks, refreshments, good food, and
exactly.
a lot of good music, and you'll meet a lot of cool people. So
And physical address.
physical address is 106 Aurora Street, Aurora Street, Houston, Texas, 77008
Okay.
is the zip code, in the Heights, off of near Yale and 25th Street.
Okay. And you need to give your name again, please.
Yeah, my name is Anish, and
We
with
sign autographs.
with
So,
with conscious use and
Okay.
and Gora here as well.
Okay, Gore, any final words for you?
Yeah, definitely. If you're on Facebook right now, check, just type in Conscious Houston, and we'll be updating that. Also, our website is conscioushouston.org. I think if you Google Conscious Houston, we pop right up because good SEO. Also, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing everyone Saturday, and feel free to come out and have a good time. You don't have to come for the whole thing; just come and check it out.
And again, is the meeting open simply for you guys, or for the members, or the meetings? You say on Wednesday?
Oh, it's open to anyone and everyone.
And
Yeah.
The time?
The time is from 7:30 to 8:30.
And I think you would probably like it because we're going to be doing the kirtans, like the long ones that start slow, build, rise, drop.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably like that.
Okay. Well, and you said Wednesdays?
Wednesdays, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, there's a good chance you'll see me at some point, but at some point we'll have to figure out a way to maintain solid contact. If you see, my memory is like that. I know she'll remind me, but in any case, we've been speaking with 2 representatives from you fill in the blank, please.
Conscious Houston.
Okay, so which is an adjunct of the Krishna Temple.
Exactly.
So so I've enjoyed the conversation, and I expect I will see you guys again. If not,
For sure.
I know it won't be this on April 1st. We'll be out of town, but on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
I don't have to bring an instrument, do I?
No, but if you bring one, you're welcome to play it.
Welcome.
Okay.
And we want to say thank you to you, Gordon, and 90.1 and Pacifica
Great.
Radio Station for having us and opening your door for us,
Right.
and doing what you guys do in supporting so many different diverse cultures and lifestyles here in Houston.
Right.
So,
Well,
thank you.
I think we're all human. That's what I see. That's what I see. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Okay, this is KPFT 90.1 KPFT HD, KPFT here in Galveston, Huntsville, 91.9. And if you choose to call in after this interview, the number is 713-526-8737. KPFT Houston. Okay, we did 45 minutes.
Awesome.
That was